bigger is not always better. And this Class C under 30 foot is the perfect example why. You see, this Forester LE2551 is capable of sleeping 6 thanks to the big super slide in here, which really helps open this main living space up, but it's not so overly big that it's hard to drive. It's still quite compact. So let's talk a little bit about the super slide and kind of the main living area. As you'll see, you have a super comfortable jackknife sofa. This does fold down into a bed to allow for an additional person overnight. You have 2 seatbelts here as well, so 2 people can legally ride. And again, sitting on a couch or like theater seating is probably the most comfortable way to ride in a Class C. But if you look at positioning, this is perfect. The TV is going to be straight across. You have the kitchen here. You have a window. Again, all this open living space. And when you want to have conversation, you can still have people here in the dinette, and everyone feels included in that convo. And there's not going to be a shortage of storage. Again, even though it is a little more compact, you have all this space back here, which is a great foot locker, or I guess couch locker. You also have storage there from the outside on that, and you get storage underneath the dinette. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying 30 foot is short in terms of a motorhome, but it's also not, 40, 45 foot. And as I mentioned, it just makes everything in here manageable. Let's talk a little bit about the control panel. There's a few things I want to point out. Mainly the fact that your water heater will run off both gas and electric, and the start and stop for your generator will be located right up here, as well as how many hours are on it. Another really cool feature though, right underneath is your auto gen start. You can turn that on and off and be able to control that. With this auto gen start right here, you can set it for things like voltage. Why would you need to do that? Well, because this one is equipped with a 12-volt refrigerator. Love a 12-volt refrigerator for a few different reasons. One, it's just going to cool down way quicker because it is compressor driven. 2, you're going to get more space, and believe it or not, it's actually easier to work on. The other thing though is that because it runs off batteries, you don't want your batteries to die, which is why we have that auto gen start. So you can see you have plenty of space. But you know what else is cool about it? Let's say you're coming right in from outside and you don't want to come all the way around, right? If you're working in the kitchen, you want it to open this way. You're coming in from outside. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Opens from both directions. So has auto gen start. Love the refrigerator itself as well. Just going to be a very functional unit. The rest of the kitchen here, you actually have good countertop space. It is off to the side, and it is at the cost of a larger sink. If there's one thing I have to say that I wish they would have done, it's just give me a little bit bigger sink here. I think it could have been, I think there's enough countertop space for that. Little bummed out on that, but everything else is pretty nice. Again, great prep space over to the side. As long as the TV's back, you don't want to hit your head. And then you also have the recessed cooktop that you can use as prep space as well. And in lieu of having just a standard oven, they put a convection microwave oven down below. So you kind of get 2 for 1. The big advantage there, obviously, is the fact that it frees up space up top for additional storage. So you have storage up above here. You have storage all down below, which, by the way, underneath the sink is nice and open, so you can put a trash can in there. Big fan of that. And of course, you have all the drawers. And just like we saw before, you have slow close on the drawers, more storage there, plus storage across the entire top of the slide, let's not forget. And as we mentioned, that TV is right across from the sofa, exactly where you want it. And there's even storage behind it. This actually folds right out. So if you have any auxiliary equipment or anything you want to plug in, you can just open this bad boy right up and you have all that additional space. Then right up above the bed is the cabover. You can sleep 2 adults up here with a 440-pound weight capacity. You also have a few foot lockers up by the other end and windows on both sides. Speaking of driving, this obviously is where you will be doing all of that. This one is built on the Ford E-Series. If you've never been in an E-Series, they all are very similar. You do get pretty decent legroom. This one is manually adjustable with both tilt in the seat as well as the seat itself. You also have an adjustment in the steering wheel here, so you can move that up and down, and it also has telescoping feature. You'll see you have some controls here for cruise control. The majority of your controls, though, will be right here for the center panel. That will control all of your thermostat here as far as climate control. You'll also see a few USB ports there, including USB-C. And then right up above that will be your touchscreen dash radio. Something that is pretty unique that I really like, though, is your backup camera is actually built into this unit right here, kind of taking the place of your rear view mirror. So it just seems a lot more natural when you're backing up. You'll see you have both the backup camera as well as both your side view cameras all built into that one panel. So you just have excellent vision when backing this bad boy up. Now, before we head into the bathroom, I do just want to mention some of the storage. You will see that you have storage on both sides here. So you have pretty good storage on this side as well as this side, whether you want to use that for pantry or movies, whatever it may be. Plus, behind here is your wardrobe, which is accessible from the bedroom. The bathroom itself is, as you can see, a rear corner bath. Taking a seat on the toilet, porcelain bowl, by the way, which you would expect. The space is okay. You know, with the door shut, I do have enough room to be able to sit here fairly comfortably. I'm not, banging elbows too much. If you're, going to be a little bit bigger, I could see would be a little bit of an issue here on your left side. As far as legs, same thing. I'm okay at 6 foot tall, but if you're going to be, 6'3", 6'4", sitting in here, it may be a little bit more cramped for you. As far as the vanity, I'm okay with what we have going on here. Not a ton of countertop space, but there is enough. The bowl is actually pretty big, given the size, and I'm good with that. So for washing hands, brushing teeth, things like that, you get a mirrored medicine cabinet up top as well. And then the shower itself, if we close the door, it is going to be, again, a little bit tighter, but it is enough that I can still turn around, which I like. And it comes with kind of, they call this a door, but essentially it's going to be like a film. The nice thing about that is it has like an antimicrobial property to it, so you can roll it up wet and it's not going to build up any mold. You will also see the big skylight here. So again, at 6 foot, I have more than enough space. So you're a tall person showering in this one, not an issue whatsoever. So how do you have all this living space but still be able to stay under 30 foot? Well, some part of the RV is going to have to be a little bit shorter. And in this case, it's the bedroom. So how do they accomplish that? Well, you'll see that they have the bed in a slide out coming out of the side. So that way it kind of drops that overall length. But the disadvantage here is the fact it's just very tight. I mean, I have a pretty big butt, but even still, there's just not a lot of room to walk around, which not only makes it a little difficult to get in and out of bed, but it also makes it very difficult to make the bed. I made this myself, and I will tell you, if you had to do it day in and day out, you probably will get a little aggravated. The other thing is when you have a slide out bed like this with a wall this close, either the mattress has to fold or you have to have some kind of way for the mattress to break. And so what they did is they have a wedge mattress. So this wedge here will actually come up. What I do like about this, though, is the mattress isn't going to move because they did attach it right here. So you don't have to worry about the wedge essentially coming apart while you're sleeping, which is great, or having this part fall off. Big props to them on that. It's actually very comfortable too. It's a memory foam, so it's one of those where a lot of times you get a mattress, you have to change it immediately. I don't think that's the case here. You also have pretty good storage underneath, right down there at the foot of the bed. It is going to be a little bit difficult to get to, but you have it nonetheless. So let's talk a little bit about the outside. This one is built on the Ford E450 chassis housing the 7.3 liter V8 Godzilla engine. That sucker puts out 325 horsepower, 450 foot-pounds of torque. Honestly, if you haven't driven it yet, I do recommend. It's definitely a lot perkier than the previous V8s. Let's talk a little bit about the front end too, though. Above that, we'll see the cabover, something I really like, and we're starting to see a few more manufacturers do this, and I'm so happy, but that is that they give it a full front cap. See, a lot of manufacturers, what they'll do is this seal, kind of like this, they will run right in this corner. The issue is, when you're going down the road, if it's raining, all that water is going to be driving into that seal, and eventually you have a leak, which is not something you want to have happen. By having this full front cap on here, it really helps prevent that water intrusion, which is huge because that is generally, historically, where we generally see Class C's leak. Make our way back a little bit further, you'll see aluminum running boards so you can climb up into the passenger and driver seats nice and easily. Of course, mirror extenders here. As we talked about earlier, you also have your side view cameras. On this particular coach that it's going to be mounted here, you'll have another one on the driver's side as well. Of course, our main entry door with a larger grab handle. You can see that it's a little more robust, a little more reinforced. You also have a power awning with the LED light strip on there and a couple speakers underneath, so you can have that outside experience, really be able to enjoy your campsite. Propane fill will be right there, a little bit of storage back on this other side. If there's one thing I have to say about this floor plan, a lot of times in Class C's, we get like this really big storage area in the back. Unfortunately, this one just doesn't have quite as much as I would like to see, but they try to make up for it by putting a lot of other storage kind of bins all the way around it. You'll also see the gel coat fiberglass on here. Of course, it's going to be aluminum frame, 2-inch wall thickness, block foam insulation, and then up top, this one actually has a fiberglass roof, which again is one of those kind of construction components that I personally really enjoy, and I like having that over a TPO membrane, which is what, again, most Class C's will have. If we drop down underneath, and again, you'll have another storage compartment right down there. It is rotocast with the drain plug, so it's nice and easy to wash out. So if you have firewood or something like that, again, you can clean it up easily. Please just remember, do not move firewood from state to state. We want to make sure we keep our trees nice and healthy. Also up top, you will see this one has a awning topper or a slide out topper on there. So that way any pine cones or sticks or anything that fall down aren't going to get gummed up in the seal of the slide. You can just roll it up nice and easily. On the back here, they finished the back off quite nicely. Kind of have like the top right there with your backup camera, and kind of to match that, they have this bottom portion right here. So aesthetically, it is very pleasing. It's almost like a rear cap. It kind of gives that aesthetic and look without having the expense of having a big molded cap. You'll also see right underneath the hitch, that is a 7,500 pound rated hitch, so nice big boy with the 7-way plug. So if you want to tow a trailer or a car behind this, you definitely have the capability to do it from a hitch standpoint. Coming around to the side, you can see the 30 amp plug-in right here. This is that same storage area we saw on the other side. I do want to point out that there is a little bit of a pass-through in here, so if you have like, I don't know, skis or something like that that are a little bit longer, you can slide them in there. But again, a lot of times, right, we just get a much larger compartment kind of on this back area. Making our way up a little bit further, as I mentioned, they do try to maximize storage solutions. This is that one we saw inside behind the sofa, so you have a couple different access points. And then if we drop down underneath, again, you can see that you have another big storage compartment. This is probably the largest of them. If you don't, if you kind of exclude that back one, like I said, that middle section, you just can't fit a ton in there. So that'll probably be the most used one right here. But the placement is going to be underneath the big slide, and it is going to be on the driver's side, which just isn't quite as convenient to get to. Last thing I want to point out is the generator. Let me open this compartment up here. You have a 4,500 watt generator, and as I mentioned, this one does have that auto gen start, which can be hugely advantageous, especially if you're going anywhere for the day. So is bigger always better? No, certainly not in the RV world, as proved by this one right here. However, if you aren't in love with the bed and you would like more of a standard one, well, check out this one I have next. I think you'll like it.